This week we are talking about a huge topic. Absolutely huge. I cannot overplay this. It's possibly the biggest issue in the world. I think this issue could bring down humanity as we know it. It's a bigger problem than AI. It's a bigger problem than anything I can think of in the Western world from a psychological perspective. And if I could teach of all the things I've learned in the past decade, that intensively studying human behavior and psychology and emotions, if I could teach everyone one thing that I think would have the biggest impact on their life, it's what we're going to talk about in this. In my last book that I wrote a few years ago, I referred to it as the Jordan Henderson effect, right? And I still like to use this example because I think it's so powerful. If you don't know, Jordan Henderson is a professional footballer who played for the club I support, Liverpool Football Club. Soccer, if you're watching this from the United States and you don't use the correct terminology for our sport, he's a football player who played for Liverpool, played for England. He was the captain of Liverpool and he captained England, his national team. So clearly pretty good at football. Yet he split opinion massively when he played. He doesn't play for Liverpool anymore, but when he played, he split opinion massively. That changed a bit the longer he stayed with us and more people liked him. But there was at the time, especially early in his career, when it was pretty black and white. Some people loved him, some people very much didn't love him. And I was in a family party once and I was chatting to an uncle about him who did not like Jordan Henderson at all. And you know what? Whenever I'm talking about this, I always think I feel bad if Jordan Henderson ever sees any of this. Not that he watches my stuff, because he comes across as a really great fella, and I don't like the idea that anyone didn't like him as a footballer. All of these people thought he was a good person, so maybe that's some consolation. But this conversation with my uncle, he was basically saying Jordan Henderson is shit at football. And one of the things people used to criticize him for, and my uncle did, was he said this to me in this argument, this conversation, he never passes the ball forward. And the position Jordan plays still at the time I record this is centre midfield. So if you're not a football fan, it's a terrible indictment of a midfielder to never play the ball forward, because that's a huge part of your job, right? So if you never play the ball forward, you're shit, in very basic terms. And I remember saying to my uncle, that's bullshit. Like, if you're saying to me he doesn't play the ball forward enough for your liking, we can have a conversation about that, because that's subjective, right? We can debate that. But if you're using the word never, what you're saying is you never see him pass the ball forward, and that is just factually not true. So I asked him to clarify, and I remember he looked at me and he looked me in the eye and he said, Paul, he never passes the ball forward. So I just stopped talking, got my phone out my pocket, went to YouTube and typed in Jordan Henderson passes. And there are loads of compilation videos on YouTube of, I'm guessing, for any sport, but especially for football. There was a 20-minute compilation video of Jordan Henderson passes. Some of the best passes you'll ever see. 60 yards, pinged forward, directly to the player he's aiming for. Unbelievable. Such a fucking good footballer. Technically sound. His passing's unbelievable. And I showed it to my uncle to prove him factually wrong that he never passes the ball forward. And he looked at it like I was showing him, like I was like a wizard, and I was showing him some bullshit that I just created. And his first reaction was, well, that must be his whole career. And I said, no, that's just this season. These are all passes. So, and he had to skip past it because his brain couldn't compute what I was showing him. And what that whole story shows you, in effect, is what we're talking about in this episode, which is why there are so many problems in the world. It's the basis of loads of the problems in your life, in the society we live in, at every level. And what it's known as, the technical term, is confirmation bias. And without getting into the deep subconscious details of this, because we haven't got time, at a very basic level, our subconscious has various needs that it meets unconsciously, subconsciously, and in unhealthy ways a lot of the time if we don't meet those needs consciously and healthily. It's been doing this since we were kids. Our ego does this for us. It's an unbelievably advanced system. It's brilliant. The more I learn about it, the more brilliant I think it is. AI has got a long way to go before it can match how amazing the human internal system is. But one of those needs we all have is the need for certainty and control. And what that means is, as soon as we believe something, or as soon as we are taught something that clicks with us and resonates with us, our ego then says, okay, in order for me to give myself certainty, which ties into safety, because that's the other thing, our ego is trying to keep us alive, right? Since we're little kids, number one priority of our subconscious, keep us alive. Forget happiness, forget fulfillment, forget love, safety, survival. Ties into that certainty. If I'm certain that this is right and I'm in control, I'm more likely to stay alive. So it's a huge need we have. So our system will then, whatever it is we believe, will find things that support us being right and will completely block out things that prove us wrong. It is an unbelievable system. It is so powerful. And we see this everywhere. So sport is a great example. Think of that example, right? Two people can watch the same footballer play the same game and see two completely different things. Because one person, think about this as well, confirmation, I'm so aware of confirmation bias, it still applies in my life. Because in that story, I love Jordan Henderson. So when I'm watching him, my system shows me all of the things that prove I'm right to love Jordan Henderson. And it blocks out all of the things that prove me wrong, unless I consciously search for them. So the only way I can be balanced in my life is to override that subconscious programming to block out the things that prove me wrong. So when I'm watching a game of football, for example, to keep the same example going, when I'm watching Jordan Henderson, I have to consciously look for the times he makes mistakes and he passes backwards to go, oh yeah, okay, he does do it sometimes. I can see why people get where this comes from. But if you're not consciously doing that, your ego is going to convince you are right about everything. And we see this everywhere. The easiest examples, the most powerful examples to look at are sport and politics. And this is something, again, when I say, it could bring down the whole world, I'm seeing this happen in sport at the moment, actually, is because of the internet and social media. Confirmation bias wasn't as big a problem before social media because you would maybe get more balanced views from different places that would make you question your ego convincing you're right. Whereas now, whatever your opinion is on any topic, you can find someone that agrees with you. And because of the way algorithms work on social media, if you start looking at a certain thing, you will be fed the thing that supports what you already think. So unless you are conscious of this and you're acutely aware of it and you battle it, and you have to battle it if you want to overcome it, even for people like me who do this for a living, and I'm so aware of it, I still get tricked by it sometimes and have to catch myself. Confirmation bias will prove you right in what you believe. Stop and think about this for a second, right? The most divisive example I can give of this, as I film this in May 2026, is Donald Trump. And this is where empathy comes in and compassion for other people. And we're sadly lacking it massively in our society and in Western culture, is just stop and think about whatever you think of Donald Trump as I say this, right? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Whichever side of the fence you are on, and he's a very divisive character, so it tends to be black and white. People who talk about things like me, you tend not to hear those voices when it comes to Donald Trump. It tends to be one thing or the other. Whichever side of the fence you're on, just stop and ask yourself, why does the other side of the fence exist? And it's really interesting because what I see is where we've got to, no matter what side you're on, the answer people give as to why the other side of the fence exists is they are fucking stupid. These people must be idiots. So I've traditionally been raised on a left of centre political ideology, right? Labour supporting city and family in the UK. So and liberal minded as well, right? So I would traditionally be on the side of the fence of Donald Trump is an idiot. And what I see on that side of the fence is people think Donald Trump is an idiot and therefore anybody who follows him must be an idiot. But just think about that logically, right? Millions and millions and millions of people have voted for him twice. He's become the president of the biggest superpower on the planet twice. So firstly, you can call him a lot of things, but an idiot isn't one of them because he's become the president of the fucking biggest superpower on the planet twice. So he must have something about him. And two, millions of people, they are all idiots. Does that make sense? Does that add up? Every single one of those people is an idiot. Have you ever spoken to someone who supports Donald Trump and thought they're not an idiot? I know I have. And this is where this kicks in, right? Because if whatever view you've got of Trump, confirmation bias will feed you everything that you need to support that opinion. And it's the same with, it's not just social media, the news channels do this. And it's why the world we're in is so fucked up. Because there are literally two different news channels, lots of different news channels, but two different sides of the fence, right? In a political spectrum, left wing, right wing. They will take the same incident and start doing this. If you want to see this in action and you want to start proving to yourself how this is true, next time you see the news about anything, about politics, whatever source of news you get, whether it's left leaning or right leaning politically, go to the opposite news source and see how they're reporting the same incident. Look at the language, look at the narrative, look at the way they're presenting it. It's incredible to watch. And if we're not aware of this and we just stay in our bubble, our ego gets fed all of the stuff that makes us feel certain, makes us feel safe, and we believe we're right. We believe we're the goodies. Something else I wrote in my last book, goodies and baddies. Notice this, everybody thinks they're the goodies. We have this weird thing in the Western world, especially in Europe and the UK, Europe, America, that we're the goodies and everybody else are the baddies. But it goes a step further. There's a silent implication that they know they're the baddies. So think about like Russia, for example. Russia are painted as the baddies in our culture. But they're also painted as if they know they're the baddies. But if you go to Russia, they don't think they're the baddies. They think they're the goodies. They think we're the baddies. I've got loads of stories on this we haven't got time for today. It's all just bullshit. It's all confirmation bias. So the way out of this is to start looking out for where confirmation bias is causing problems in your life. It's causing you to suffer in your life. And that suffering can literally be telling yourself that the world is fucking awful because of politics or because of whatever it is. It's huge. And wherever it's causing you suffering, start focusing on the opposite of whatever it is you're proving to yourself right now and see what happens. It's one of the reasons faith is so powerful. And one of the reasons moving away from faith-based practices like religion has had a detrimental effect on lots of people. Not that I believe in organized religion, because I don't, but I do believe in faith in a higher power, whatever you want to call that. Some people call that God, some people call it the universe, some people call it source energy. But faith is really powerful because when you start believing that everything is happening for your benefit, so the idea that this is happening for me, not to me, it changes your life because your system starts looking for all of the ways that's true. If you believe in God or the universe, that they've got this thing that's looking after you, even when bad things happen in your life, you believe that that is for your benefit. Confirmation bias will kick in and prove to you why that's true. So you will feel better. Something I talk about in my online program and in my coaching is we all live inside our own delusion. That's the truth. We tell ourselves stories about the world we live in. None of it's objectively true. It's all subjective to each of us. So if you're going to live inside a delusion, you're best living inside a delusion that makes you happy. And having faith in something helps to do that, which is one of the reasons as we've moved, as I say, as we've moved away from faith-based things, there's a lot more problems in the world, because there are a lot more people now, I would say, that believe that when things go wrong, the world is happening to them. They are a victim of the world. This is not their responsibility. There's no benefit of this in this to me. Whereas believing that things are happening to me and letting confirmation bias kick in. Notice that if you tell yourself you're a victim and the world is bad and the world's a bad place and it's full of bad people, confirmation bias is going to prove you right. Whatever it is, this ties into law of attraction stuff and mythology and ancient stories. But think about the genie in the lamp in the story of Aladdin. Your wish is my command. The universe only knows yes. So if you say the world's a bad place and it's full of bad people, the universe goes, yes. What's that? Confirmation bias. As soon as you start telling yourself the world is a bad place and it's full of bad people, confirmation bias will kick in and it will prove you right. And it will show you all the ways the world is a bad place and it's full of bad people. If you tell yourself the world is a good place and it's full of good people, same thing applies. You get to choose. Right now, it's likely that you are choosing lots of things that are leading you to suffer and making you feel less than you want to feel in your life. So the way out, in very simple terms, and this is very simple, there's lots of deep stuff behind this. The way out is to start focusing on the opposite. Start focusing on things that make you feel better about the world, and confirmation bias will kick in to make you feel better, to prove you right. If you like this stuff, you can get more free help from me. I've got a completely free community. There's a link under this video, wherever you're watching it. To join that free community, you get free digital copies of my books and other free help, discounts to my online program that goes through all the depths of this and how you can really change your life if you want to, and to lots of other things. Go and explore that. It's free to look at, free to join, no obligation. You can leave whenever you want. I'll never share your information with anybody else, all of that good stuff. And I hope this has helped you. Feel free to put something in the comments if you've got any questions, wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening. Any questions, get in touch with me via the website and I will answer anything that you want clarifying or you need help with. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.